So, this video will be on the Georgia Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones are about an hour away from Atlanta. They were put up in 1979, and they were dedicated in 1980. And it's made out of granite, and it has the most known languages, the largest languages in the world. It has English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. And then at the top of it, it has, in cuneiform, it has classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Egyptian hieroglyph. And this is, it has 10 commandments on it. And we'll get into those in a little bit. But here is me at the Georgia Guidestones, and so that gives you some size perspective. Hopefully that looks good on the camera. There's an eerie feeling. It's out on a hillside next to some cows. There was a farmer who sold this land, this little patch of land, and he sold it to a rich man who went by the name of R.C. Christian. And R.C. Christian is a pseudonym. It's a fake name. Some rich man who probably was into Rosicrucianism. That's kind of an occult group, Rosicrucians, and they're pretty creepy. They're all into enlightenment and stuff. And the founder of Rosicrucianism is a man named Christian Rosencreuz. Rose and cross is the symbol for him, and it's usually a square with a rose in the middle, and it's a T, like a T for a cross. And if you look down at the top of the Georgia Guidestones, you have your square and you have your cross. And so it kind of is a wink and a nod to Rosicrucianism, but I think it might be a thing to distract or to give mystery to. There is a lot of people out there who believe that Ted Turner is actually the guy who had this bought and paid for. It was a very expensive adventure to pay for this size granite and all the custom stuff that went into it, and then purchasing of the land. And the reason why people believe Ted Turner, because one, he lives in Atlanta, he's about an hour away. Two, before these stones were put up, he was actually espouting some of these very same things that are on these 10 commandments that are here on the Georgia Guidestones. He was saying it before, he was saying it when they got put up, and he was saying it afterwards. So there's a lot of people that think that it's probably him. I lean towards that too. It makes the most sense, and he would do something like this. So one of the interesting things that, again, staying with the occult angle, it's made, this granite is pyramid blue granite. Of course it would be pyramid, Gotta do that if you're into the occult. And boy, they're all about the pyramids, the Freemasons, and all that. Illuminati. Just look at the back of your $1 bill. It also weighs 746 pounds. That's huge. This thing is big. It's very heavy. And at the top in the cuneiform section, it says, "Let these be guidestones to reason." And you read them, and they're so filled with opinion and open to interpretation. It's really not reason. You have to ask yourself, well, whose reason? Who's reasoning out these commandments? These aren't commandments that you can really nail down as, oh, speak the truth. No, that's not what's being said here. These are things like they're open to ambiguous opinions. It could be this, it could be that, and so that lets you know that this person is not a good person. This person is evil who has put these up, and we're going to get into some of the 10 Commandments that will prove that. But before that, I want to show you that the dedication date was March 22nd, 1980. And it's just funny how the sunlight there is shining a pyramid on the 1980. Total coincidence, not planned. But that's me taking a picture. There is a time capsule. That time capsule is placed 6 feet below this spot on blank. Let's add some more mystery. On blank, to be opened on blank. Now, where's the time capsule? Is the time capsule there? Is it really below this spot? And what's in that time capsule? You know, some people out there say, oh, maybe there wasn't a time capsule put on, so they never finished it, so that's why they never told you when it is. Or they wanted mystery in it, and maybe the time capsule is below that spot, and there's stuff in that time capsule that is going to be revealed on a later date. Maybe some, evil, nefarious thing is in there. Who knows? But that's pretty strange. When you get there, there is a giant system of cameras set up. Now, it's not the New World Order monitoring their stones. What's actually there is the sheriff's department are keeping an eye on it because people vandalize it all the time. They spray paint it, they pour paint and blood and all that stuff because there is an evil vibe to it, and it's creepy out there. These just giant stones out in the middle of nowhere, and a lot of people thinking New World Order, a lot of people thinking Agenda 21, a lot of people thinking Bill Gates like behavior of depopulation. Whatever it is, something is going on. These are real, they're out there, and they were not shown off, they were not publicized when they were built. They were kind of just built in secret. They had a little ceremony, but they didn't publish anything in the news. And it took a long time for people to find out what the Georgia Guidestones were. So it probably was not some publicity stunt like people out there saying, oh, the granite industry, and there was a publicity. Well, they didn't do any good job of publicity because they didn't tell anybody. This was not known. So I don't think that was the right angle either. One of the strange events that happened along with this thing was a black cube was actually built into this thing. And somebody got up there with a ladder and cracked open that little section, little hidden jewel up there, a black cube. And they took it and they had it at their house. Eventually the police came and found them. It took them a while to find out who stole the black cube. And guess what? That person handed it over to the police and he said, my life has been terrible ever since taking this thing. Please take this away from me. And, the black cube is definitely into the occult. You can do your own research on that. It's very wicked stuff. There is a bunch of, like I said, a celestial events. The one on the left is looking at Polaris in the night sky. That's a star that sits still, and that thing lines up with it. And then the one in the middle is a halfway sun spot line, where the sun midday shines a line down on the ground. The one on the right is an opening for the morning sunrise at equinox day. And of course that is very occult-like. All the occults, they would stand eggs up on equinox day, and they would sacrifice children and all that stuff. So this thing is a Swiss Army knife for all the things. I'm not really sure why this one spot is smooth on the side. You can see it's smooth leading up in the middle. Those other parts are rough on the sides of the slabs. For this one, there's just a strange piece right there. I've noticed it. And again, here's some of the diagrams and how the languages are laid out. And you can see Hebrew on the right side. Here's a picture of me next to it. And there is some grammar issues. There's some things that actually don't translate perfect. And I understand that one of the universities helped out with the translation and crafting of the languages. They signed secret documents to say they wouldn't talk about it. I think it was the University of Georgia, but I'm not entirely sure. Please don't quote me on that. And of course, you got Egyptian up at the top of that next one. Now, this is my final picture, but I want to go over some of these 10 Commandments. So, number 1, maintain humanity under 500 million to perpetual balance with nature. That's really a very alarming one on the list, because we have to get rid of 6.5 billion people to achieve something like that. And that's if it's 7 billion. We might have more than 7 billion on the planet today. So we're talking, we got to reduce the world's population down to 10%. This is madness. And these are some of the same things that David Rockefeller was saying, Bill Gates was saying, Lord Rothschild was saying, Ted Turner. You know, all these global elites, they all say the same thing. There's too many people. We need to reduce. And of course, they're always talking about, you know, birth control and viruses. You know, we just had Prince Philip say, Prince Philip died, and one of the things that he is famous for saying back in the 90s was, you know, if there was reincarnation, I wish that I would die and come back as a virus so I could depopulate the planet. You know, he's just dreaming about killing people. This guy is, you know, he was evil. He was not a good guy. And all these, you know, rich, powerful elite, they all want to reduce the population because that makes them much more wealthy, and it also gives them more power and control. If you make the size of the quote-unquote cattle that you're raising, if you reduce the size of the population, it's easier to manage. You don't have a hard time, and they can't rise up against you. So that's the kind of logic that they're kicking out. So number 2, guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. So think about it. That's very loaded. Guide reproduction wisely. What is wisely? What do you mean by wisely? Add more people? Or control certain groups? Abort more babies? You know, what does wisely look like? Wisely to who? Wisely to Satan or wisely to God? You know, that's the kind of logic that's going on in this thing. So, number 3, unite humanity with a living new language. Unite humanity with a living new language. What do you mean? One language? Like Tower of Babel? You want to unite us all saying the same thing? Well, that's a hive mind. That's communism. That's New World Order talk. I'm not down with that. Number 4, rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Okay, tempered reason, controlled reason. Whose reason? What's reasonable? Reasonable to who? To your plan and objective? Okay, yeah, control that. You want to control tradition and faith. Okay, that's not cool. I don't like that. Number 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Okay, fair by what means? That's so arbitrary. Fair to whom? You know, who's deciding what's fair? You know, they want to talk about your fair share well, what's fair? Whatever the person who's in power deems as fair makes it fair. That's not how, life is not fair. Just courts. What do you mean by just? Just in world sense? Or, are we having crooked courts? Because we already have a court system. Number 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Here we go. World court, New World Order, United Nations, EU. This type of thing is globalism. This is Tower Babel all over again. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Not really sure how that works. Who's deeming who useless? And what do you consider petty? These are, they're skewed to however you want to think. One thing that's petty to me might not be petty to another person. Number 8, balance personal rights with social duties. Well, the Constitution doesn't say anything about social duties. Balance personal rights. Okay, what does that look like? Does that mean you have to take away some of my personal rights to get in balance? Because my rights come from God. None of that sounds right. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. It doesn't say seek harmony with God, it says the infinite. And what's love and beauty to someone who's not acknowledging God? Just a question there. Number 10, the last one. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. They say it twice. So, this is assuming that human beings are a cancer. So, be not a cancer on the earth. You're assuming that humans are a cancer against nature. So, why are you going cancer, earth, nature? So, this whole thing is just screaming occult, New World Order, one world government, Tower Babel. Let's get all these people together. Let's all rule them. Let's create a new society, a new reset, a global reset, which is what they're talking about now. The mainstream media wanted to say that the global reset is not real, but then we have Klaus Schwab going around saying that there is a global reset. And Bill Gates is going around talking about the global reset, and Justin Trudeau, lockstep. Let's create a new world order out of this chaos. We have an opportunity here. Everybody's in lockdown. We can kill small businesses, and we can redefine the United States by pouring more illegals over the border and change demographics and solidify our power and take away our votes. And let's just do away with the Constitution. And hey, we'll just rule from a global government. This is what they're talking about. So this is effectively a Stonehenge version for the New World Order. It tells you right there, they want to reduce population. So the people of this planet need to wake up. They want to cull you. They want to get rid of you. They view you as cattle to control. Wake up, people. There is evil people that are in charge, and they ain't for you. They ain't trying to help you. They're going to say they're going to be trying to help you. They're going to make things better for you if you just do this and you do that. Take this, take that, put this under your skin. Guess what, people? They're setting you up. They're evil. They don't love you, and they don't have good intentions. They have a smile on their face, but they are planning evil things, and they have a knife behind their back. Wake up, people. This is the Georgia Guidestones. Please make sure you share this out to people. Thank you so much for joining me. Spread the truth and keep digging. Keep digging for truth. God bless you.